Morning everybody, how are y'all doing today? I'm doing great myself because, I was planning, in the last video I uploaded, I said, our next couple of videos are going to be responding to videos about, like, the Activision acquisition and all that stuff. However, we got a pleasant surprise, and that is that a salty PlayStation fanboy found his way into my comment section and tried to talk mad crap to me. And I'm not going to say who won or anything, but I think I'll let you guys decide who the victor was at the end of the video. So today I just kind of wanted to go through the comments that we left for each other and kind of explain my points and go over why I don't agree with him. I thought this would be a fun video to make, and after this, hopefully we'll be able to get back on track and I can actually make those videos I promised. But I don't think you guys are opposed to extra pony salt, are you? Anyway, let's get into the first comment that started it all. So we start this journey off on a post that I made announcing that my next video, which was the one I just uploaded yesterday, or, the one about King Thrash and the Twitter thing with, he said Ubisoft was an indie developer. Basically, I was announcing that that was going to be my 50th PlayStation fanboy video, and I was just thanking everybody for all the support over the last 10 months. And VR Hell Official commented under that post saying, I wouldn't be surprised if Lucas was the 50th video. And then I responded with, I wish. Mainly because, Lucas Salt is always great, and also my first video on the channel was talking about Lucas, so it would be appropriate if, a big milestone had to do with him. But unfortunately, Lucas is kind of coming around to PC a little bit, especially after Spider-Man PC came out and he loved it. But anyway, yeah, you guys get the point. So basically, I said I wish it was Lucas because, it would have been very appropriate. But then this one guy by the name of Deadpool Cool Kid G12, he just didn't really like the fact that somebody would dare to criticize his Lord and Savior, the amazing Lucas. And he replied with, Lucas isn't a fanboy, he just speaks the truth you can't handle, laughing face emoji ×3. The Xbox really doesn't have any exclusives, doesn't make him a fanboy when it's true. There's a reason the PS4 outsold the Xbox One, laughing face emoji, and the PS2 outsold the original Xbox, tongue emoji, clown emoji. And I don't know what the hell to call that last one, so I'm not even gonna bother. I'm probably just gonna embarrass myself. So yeah, right off the bat, you can see we've got all the fanboy logic coming in here. Says Xbox has no exclusives while ignoring the fact that most PlayStation games are coming to PC, and thinks that because of the exclusives, the PS4 outsold the Xbox One, which I'm not gonna explain why that's wrong right now because I get into that with my comments in a little bit. But continuing on here, by this point I had seen the comment section and I was like, okay, you know what, this could make for good content, I'm gonna engage this guy. So I replied with, all the PS exclusives are on PC or coming soon. Also, if exclusives are what sell consoles, then why did the PS4 sell better than the Xbox One on day one, even though Xbox had the better exclusives? Also, how come even the best-selling PS4 exclusives were only purchased by 1 in 6, or only 13% of people? And yeah, I stand by what I said. The PlayStation 4, definitely further down the line, had the better exclusive lineup, but at launch, the Xbox definitely had the advantage in the exclusives library. And then I think that second point really sells the argument completely. Even the PS4's best-selling exclusives sold 20 million copies at most. That means only 1 in every 6 people who bought a PlayStation even bought one of the exclusives. Or as I said right there, another way you can look at it is that means only 13% of people who bought a PlayStation even bought the best-selling exclusive. And even then, that does not mean that they bought a PlayStation for the exclusive. Because I think that's a very important thing to know. Just because somebody buys an exclusive on a console does not mean they bought the console for that exclusive. I bought Halo 5 back when I had an Xbox One, but I did not buy an Xbox One for Halo 5. I got it so I could play games like Minecraft with my friends. In fact, I'm pretty sure I never even touched an Xbox exclusive until I got like Forza for Christmas. And that was a few years after I even got my console. But anyway, let's keep going here. So this guy then proceeds to respond to me with a 3-paragraph essay split apart into 3 different comments. So let's go ahead and read through all of them. Dude, the Xbox isn't better than PlayStation and never will be. Has been thriving since the 90s. Xbox came later. PS will always be OG. And Xbox will be in second place. / I'll put it to you like this. PlayStation is Naruto and Xbox is Sasuke. PlayStation is Goku and Xbox is Vegeta. Laughing emoji, cool emoji, money emoji, clown emoji. Also, God of War, The Last of Us, and Marvel's Spider-Man sold 20 million copies each. That's 60 million and is more than even what the Xbox One sold in its entirety. So I don't want to hear that exclusives don't sell consoles, because they do. That's the point of them. Look at Nintendo, for example. Laughing face emoji times 7. Xbox having better exclusives than PlayStation, and then so many clown emojis I can't even count that. Nor am I going to bother to try. But I just love how hard this man disproved himself making his own argument. Because think about it, the Xbox One sold like trash. I don't think anyone's going to deny that unless you're an Xbox fanboy. I mean, the Xbox One sold like trash. There's no getting around it. I mean, what was it? It sold like half or less than half of what the PS4 sold, something like that. And it's just hilarious to me that this dude actually managed to prove himself wrong making his own argument. Because, dude, you do realize you had to take PlayStation's 3 best-selling exclusives, and you had to add them all up just to get half the number of how many consoles the PS4 sold. Even if you take the 3 best-selling PS4 exclusives of all time and add them all up, it only equates to half the number of consoles sold. And even then, that doesn't mean people bought the console for the exclusives. And also, his whole point here relies on assuming the fact that every single person who bought one of the exclusives was a different person. So like, one person bought Spider-Man, one person bought The Last of Us, and then another person bought God of War. His whole argument relies on assuming that each and every single one of those sales was a different person. Dude, I can personally guarantee you that singular people were buying multiple games. Like, one person probably bought 2 or 3 of the games listed. It's not like 60 million different people each bought a PlayStation to play one of those exclusives. And I counter argue his Nintendo point in a second, so I'm not going to say it right now, but I just want to bring this up because I never mentioned this to him. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe alone sold half as many copies as Switches have been sold. For every 2 people that bought a Switch, 1 bought Mario Kart. Half the people who own a Switch own Mario Kart. And you got to keep in mind as well, that's one game. This dude had to add up 3 of the best-selling PlayStation games just to get to half. And that doesn't even mean that each of those sales were from individual people. Like I said, multiple people probably bought multiple games. In my example, we're talking about one game, and people aren't just going to buy multiple copies of the same game for their console. But anyway, moving on, I then reply with, first of all, are you saying Xbox is worse than PlayStation because PlayStation came out first? Fantastic logic there, bud. Because in his previous comments, he kind of implied that Xbox was worse than PlayStation because of its age, because, he just loved to bring up how, PlayStation was the OG. But anyway, second, even if you combine the sales of The Last of Us, God of War, and Spider-Man, that still means less than half the people who bought a PlayStation bought the exclusives. Third, Nintendo is the exception because their hardware is extremely underpowered and doesn't get most third-party games that release nowadays. Therefore, no one is buying it as a primary console. However, the big third-party games are on Xbox and PlayStation. Also, if exclusives matter so much, why is Sony doing everything in their power to stop Microsoft from buying Activision? So, like I mentioned before, if you combine all the sales, it's still only half the consoles sold. I'm not going to repeat myself. But yeah, that was another point that I made that I was saving to talk about until now, that the Switch sells because of the exclusives because it's extremely underpowered and doesn't get most third-party games that release nowadays. However, the Xbox and PlayStation basically get all third-party games nowadays, unless like Sony pays for a third-party exclusive or something. But anyway, and I think that last point is a pretty good one as well, how if exclusives matter so much? Why is Sony desperate to stop Microsoft from acquiring Activision? Why did they literally delay their showcase by a week? Out of fear that it would make Microsoft's argument more compelling. Like I've said in previous videos, I have never seen a company in such desperation before. But continuing on, and unfortunately this is his last reply to me, he says, who said it was better because it came out first? Well, you never directly said it, but you were implying it. But anyway, laughing face emoji times 3 clown emoji. I'm just saying it's more of a classic and will always be the ultimate console. The Sega failed, Nintendo is thriving to this day, the original Xbox didn't do well, / sold the same amount of Marvel Spider-Man, and that's a game. The original Xbox is a console, laughing face emoji times 4. The Xbox 360 was their best generation by far and sold well too. The Xbox One sucked, and we'll see how they do this generation, but every generation of PlayStation was good and legendary, and all the credit goes to the one that started it all, and that's the PS1. I don't care, if not for that, there would be no Xbox. There wouldn't even be other PS consoles, even if Xbox is better, which it isn't. PS started it, and will always be a classic no matter what, and it will end it. PS for life, but I'll admit the Xbox 360 was truly better than the PS3, at least to me. Just to let you know, I'm not a fanboy. I give credit where credit is due, but other than that, Xbox just sucks, laughing face emoji times 8. Nah, there are no exceptions. Who's the fanboy now, laughing face emoji times 5. I had to stop to breathe several times during that. Holy crap, I thought my lungs were gonna collapse in on themselves. But dude, are you really trying to argue that you're not a PlayStation fanboy when you're saying that, you know, exclusives are what sell the console, Xbox has no games, Xbox has no exclusives? He literally says PlayStation for life, and he's trying to say he's not a fanboy. Like, imagine if I said Xbox or PC for life. You would call me an Xbox fanboy in no time. Also, I just love how he completely ignores every single argument I made in my previous comment because he knows he doesn't have a counter. He just hard sticks to the thing where I said that he was saying that PlayStation was better because it was older. Also, my dude, you're saying every generation of PlayStation was great. Do I really need to bring up the PS3? You know, $600, that massive hack that happened. Didn't they promise like 120 FPS, I'm pretty sure? And honestly, you know what? As great as the Xbox 360 was, it definitely had its flaws. Remember the red ring of death? Like, didn't that console have like a 50% failure rate because of overheating or something? But anyway, let's get into my final response. So I finish off our little debate here by saying, just because you admit one console is better doesn't mean you're not a fanboy. I agree the Xbox One was trash, and yet you think I'm an Xbox fanboy. Also, you use the classic PlayStation fanboy argument of Muh Sclusives, saying that that's all that matters. And I never mentioned this, but remember, he also said Lucas wasn't a fanboy, and, you know, he used him as a credible source. So I think that alone should have been enough to prove that you are, in fact, a fanboy, my dude. Also, I'll just say, I've never seen a non-fanboy use so many clown and laughing face emojis before. But anyway, I don't really have much more to add other than be a fan of a console, be a fan of a platform, but don't be a fanboy, because then you just look stupid. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't like it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will catch you all next time.